Good afternoon to all our friends and fans. This is Michael Virardi, welcoming you to our 139th Ask Virardi episode. And I'm so happy today to welcome the Director General of the Cyprus Shipping Chamber, my personal friend, Kazakos. Thomas, it's great to have you here.
Pleasure is mine.
Kazakos' resume is impressive to say the least. He asked me not to read it out, but I will read it out because now we're live, he cannot stop me anymore. He's a member of the Executive Committee of the Cyprus Employers and Industrialists Federation, on the Board of Directors of the Cyprus Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Cyprus Investment Promotion Agency. He's the Secretary General and Board Member of the Cyprus Shipowners Employers Association, and he represents the Shipping Chamber at the Board of Directors of the International Chamber of Shipping in London and the European Community Shipowners Association in Brussels. But my dear friends, we're not going to be speaking about any of his roles today because I admire Thomas first and foremost as a human being and as a person and as a friend. So I'm going to delve into his dreams as a young kid, his assessment of his overall career up to now, as well as what motivates and inspires him to be the professional that he currently is. Last but not least, we would look into his advice towards the younger generation, the millennials, who are our major target group at the Virardi Ask Virardi. So Thomas, welcome, and it's good to have you on the show.
Michali, many thanks. You cheated me already, but never mind. All I want to say, out of all the things you've read out, the one thing I will keep close to my heart is the first one, friend. And since this is the first episode of your successful program after a recent sudden event, I very much would like to pay tribute to your dad, who I had the pleasure to meet long before I met you, and I can very much see what makes you the man you are. I've met him once many years ago as our first meeting, and I ended up that meeting saying what a great man, not just in physique, but as a person. He inspired me as a man who loves life and transfers this to you and makes you want to live a good life and be a productive person in the community. So allow me to pay tribute to your dad, and I know you loved him much, and many other people who know him. So thanks very much for the invitation, and from all the things you said about me, I keep close to my heart the word friend.
Thank you very much, Thomas, and you couldn't have started any better. Thank you for paying tribute to my dad. I truly appreciate that, and it's very touching. So let's get to question number one. To get where you are today, it either takes talent, hard work, or something else. What did it take for you, Thomas?
I think each person faces his professional career differently. In my case, I started as a young lawyer graduate from university in the UK many centuries ago, and I came to Cyprus, and I was one of the lucky ones that applied on a Monday, went on Tuesday for an interview, and Friday I got a job. My first job was as an internal legal advisor for the Employers Industrials Federation, who I now have the pleasure and the honor to sit on the Board of Directors and the Executive Committee. But that was just I remember very well the first time. It was just luck to see the advert at the time, and then relevance when it comes to the qualifications I had for the position. As it happened, I did one of my dissertations on labor law of Cyprus, and I did that during my summer period. So that's one hint already for the youngsters to find relevance in what they study, not for today, but for the time that they will finish their studies. But having got the first job, which lasted 6 months only, I was attracted to Limassol. I was born in Famagusta and always lived by the sea, so I was lured to Limassol to a job I didn't know anything about. And that is my current position at the Shipping Chamber. At the time was called Cyprus Shipping Council, it's just the same thing. Ever since the time, and if I look back and I see my personal development, I got in as an internal legal advisor on a fixed contract basis, if you like. And within the first 3 years, I got 3.5 promotions, and then I got stuck into my current position. What has transpired was a combination of elements that helped me progress. Number one, of course, as you already mentioned, is hard work. You cannot gain anything unless you're the son of a billionaire who has enough money that can support you, or without you having to do anything. But that's not self-satisfying, I believe, even if that's the case. And then, of course, hard work means not just pumping up the hours, 8 to 5 or whatever is their working hours, but truly, first of all, understanding what you do, and then turning into something you enjoy. So you can develop more and give your best into that. And then, of course, with hard work, which is the volume of work, if you like, then you have to have consistency in what you do in order to gain. One magic word which I always use is the word trust. Trust comes from showing to your colleagues, your friends, your loved ones that what you do, you are passionate about it, you are committed to it, and above all, you're knowledgeable enough in order to gain the credibility that you require in order to become a trustworthy partner. And in my case, it was a long experience. I've been at this job for over 25 years now. And I have to say that I went there for 5 years. I said to myself, I'm going to be there for 5 years and I'm going to be out of it. But I'm still, after 25 years, I'm still there. Maybe it's time to move on, I don't know. But summing up, I will say it's a combination of factors. Number one is, of course, hard work. Number two is consistency in making sure that this consistency in your behavior, whether that's written or verbal or communication skills, is the one that you require to convince your partners, your associates, that you're trustworthy. And that's the basic ingredients as far as I'm concerned, with a touch of luck if you believe in these kind of things. I said at the beginning, luck for me was my first job, which I applied and I got the job straight away. And then, of course, luck, which I applied to a job I didn't know much about it, but it developed to be my second passion other than my wife, of course.
Excellent, Evangelia. So if Evangelia is listening, once again, he spoke about you, Evangelia. Thomas, you're motivated, you're joyful. This is my assumption. You are knowledgeable, you're a solution-oriented professional. I have worked with you as well during the 3 speeches we had after 2013. So where do you draw all this motivation from? What keeps you going? You said in 5 years you're living, you're still there. What keeps you going? Where do you draw your motivation from?
When I joined the shipping industry, Michali, I was not aware of the depth of any industry, especially this one, which is truly international and diversified. Believe it or not, in our association work, because that's what we do an association where we provide services and advice to the shipping companies in Cyprus. But more than that, and this is our slogan, if you like, whether in CSR or any other social, shipping is not, as we say, an industry that only carries cargo passengers. It carries social messages of support, and you won't believe how many incidents we have found pleasure and satisfaction when we see 2 things. One, of course, primarily is the achievement of certain goals. You set some goals as a professional industry, as a professional company or organization, and you say, I want to go from A to B to C. And when you see, not always the easy way, but most of the times the hard way, that some of these goals are being achieved, maybe not 100%, but to satisfactory level, that gives you a level of satisfaction and the motivation to keep going. And I'm sure you're going to ask me some mottos later, and I will tell you mine.
What is your motto? Yes.
No, let's come to it later on. But I will say the satisfaction of achievement, whether that is a dry achievement as passing a law, for example, that will benefit thousands of people in the industry and will maintain employment for youngsters for tomorrow and the years to come, when everything else was failing, to see an industry still standing up, rowing against the tide of times and difficulties I went through as Cyprus past 2013 onwards, but also to try to combine these corporate achievements with some social ones. If I take our industry again and our member companies and the good work that they do, and if you see, it's not just a collection of money to give to charity, but it's the personal involvement of people. I'll give you an example.
Yes, please.
When I see an industry that has 4,500 employees, more than half of them are non-Cypriots. And if I tell you that our industry is, let's say, the biggest blood donor, corporate blood donor in the district of Limassol, would you believe it? We've been doing blood donations twice a year for the last 25 years. I started it many, many years ago, and it only takes one circular. We send a circular to our member companies and we get 150 bottles of blood every time. And we have reached thousands of bottles of donation. And this is a satisfaction that you get from trying to combine corporate issues with social benefits and social contribution to it. And this for us in our line of business, that we don't sell products, we don't, our services are, as I always say, it's invisible. You cannot measure them. But the most satisfying motivation for me is the satisfaction that I see that we managed to contribute something to our industry, to our member companies, to our member employees, and then overall to the society and to the economy of Cyprus.
Excellent. Do you ever regret how your business life or how your life turned out to be, Thomas? Would you ever want it to be something else?
Okay, I think I mentioned it already that since I was 12, I always knew I wanted to do something related to law. So I'm a lawyer by trade, but never practice it because I never got the chance, as I already mentioned. However, I have never regretted it. I always say that it is, my motto is never regret, learn from the things that you might not find satisfying after you try them out. And using another quote from shipping related one from the US Marine Corps, it says, improvise, adapt, overcome. For us, it's, for me, not for us. Of course, there were moments, and there will always be moments that you say, if I've done this differently, or if I've done something else, it might be better. But my experience of both work and personal life is that unless you live something, you won't be able to judge. And I don't regret the line of business I've chosen. It's by choice and not by force. If I could do something different, yes, I could, and this is what I'm trying to do every day. So improvise, adapt, overcome.
Excellent. Let's say hi to Alexander Sinkas. Alexander says regards to both.
Yes, Alexander.
And Stathis Stasis says regards to both. Thank you, Stathis. What advice would you give, Thomas, to our younger followers, millennials in their large majority, who have just embarked on their careers? A, who want to succeed, and B, who want to differentiate themselves. So what would be your advice, Thomas?
I feel that there is a lot more competition nowadays and the years to come. That's a price of progress. But at the same time, there's a lot more assistance and specialized help that they can get well in advance in the early stages of making their mind up as to what they want to follow. Make the most of it at that time. If I take again examples from my industry, and I'm sorry if I always come back to shipping.
You lived in shipping, you breathed shipping.
Yeah, yes.
Improvise, adapt, overcome.
Yes, when I got married, my best man, who has the same name as the President of the Republic, by the way, when he made a speech for me and my wife, she said, for my wife, she says, shopping, shopping, shopping. For Thomas, it's shipping, shipping, shipping. No, joking aside, I believe that youngsters today, they come under a lot of pressure, but they should take advantage of the services that they have from either their schools or specialized services that they can, professional services they can receive. So at least they limit the things they know, even at this early stage, that they don't like. If you want to become a musician, I'm sure by the age of 5 or 6 or 10, you'll know that you can sing, you can dance, or you can whatever else. So,
great advice.
So eliminate the things you know that you don't have any attraction, to limit the possibilities, the elements of your choice. Correct. Now, and then once you embark on this, what you should be doing is to try and think ahead. Don't see what's of interest today, but look 3, 4, 5 years down the line. Again, using my own experience, when I was in my second year of law school and I came back to Cyprus for the summer, I paid a visit to a great lawyer who's passed away since, one of the biggest law firms in Limassol, to tell him about the subjects I've chosen in my law degree in order to advise me whether this is something of interest. And he said, Thomas, you've chosen all the things that nobody does. Where are you going to find employment? And I got petrified for a minute. And then he stood back and said, don't worry. This is exactly what we want. We want someone who doesn't have, you have to find a big law firm like ours who don't have specialization in these fields. I remember I've chosen, for example, intellectual property. Nobody was doing that at the time. And that was what you were still in.
Many years ago.
And he said, but don't worry, we will set up a sort of a branch and you could come and work for us. So try to think ahead and see, use the services of internet, use the services of professional career advisors, and mostly try to follow what your instincts tell you as to what you like and what you don't like.
Excellent. Through your various roles, I mentioned most of them, so I don't need to mention them again. It is expected and it is evident that you are a good leader or at least a great manager. Share with us 2 to 3 secrets or traits of a great leader or of a capable manager, Thomas.
Okay, when I first started representing my industry, my association abroad, I went to the International Chamber of Shipping where all the national shipping associations meet. And I attended a meeting. There were about 12 director generals like me, and I was 27 at that time. It was just when I took over.
Wow.
And there were 2 real admirals retired who were then, since then, employed by their national associations. And I thought, oh my God, who am I? 27-year-old kid sitting next to real admirals of, vast experience. And one of them was very talkative. The other one was not talking at all. And at the end, during the coffee break, I said, Admiral, you've been very quiet. And he said, Thomas, I'm on a double L mission. And I said, what is that? Listen and learn.
Wow.
And since that time, that was my first, let's say, direction. I go from a hands-on experience to a person who I much respect. That's as far as, let's say, to be a good leader, you have to be a good listener. A good manager is the same. And then, of course, this usual question is, are you born a leader or you develop? I say, let's say I come from, I don't believe very much in star signs, but I'm a Leo. So I'm supposed to say that leaders are born this way, but I would say might be something natural, but more so I believe it's something that you develop over the years, building on your experience with people. And the most recent one, and goes back the last 10, 15 years for me, is that double L mission, listen and learn from the young ones. They are the ones who bring in a lot of new technology, new developments, new ideas. And having the experience to assess them, that will give them the benefit of them being heard of and be listened to. And most of their ideas might be raw, but if you put the experience of the years that you carry with you with the new ideas, I believe that makes a good blend of ideas to help you develop more your continuous learning process. Which is the one that you continuous learning from more experienced people or less experienced people than you.
Excellent, love it. Who was your first ever mentor, Thomas? Who was your first ever mentor? Because you're talking about learning, teaching, listening. Who was your first ever mentor?
I think, as I said, I'm a very simple person, and this is going to be a bit of a cliche, but as we started with your dad, allow me to start mentioning my dad.
Is your dad alive or
no,
he passed away
2 years ago?
I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay. But the one thing I carry on from my father is the word humility. And that's the first lesson I learned, and that's in order to able to receive, you have to offer. And in order to offer, you have to do it without expecting to receive things. So from my side, the first mentor, although I don't recall him teaching me things, is by living with someone who you over the years realize that the lifestyle, both at home as well as at work, is the one you want to follow, and if you can improve it. I would say the one word that comes whenever I think of my dad is the word humility, with offering without expecting to get anything.
Excellent. And what's the biggest lesson you learned this year or the past year, recently? A recent lesson? Because I know you learned from the youngsters, from the more experienced ones, so I want to see if you're still a student.
Well, maybe it's another slogan, but the slogan goes like this: don't live for tomorrow, don't live for today, live in today.
Wow.
This is the one that I've been trying to follow for the last couple of years, since all this change is happening in order to make sure, because when you work in a pressure environment where all the time you need to meet deadlines and things like that, you tend to live for tomorrow. If you go to the other extreme, you tend to say, oh, what the hell, I will do it today and I don't care what's happening tomorrow. Well, I think the best thing is to live in today, make the most of today and move on for the future.
It's not a coincidence that Gina Panayiotou says you are a league of your own. So Gina, I totally agree with you that Thomas is in a league of his own. I don't want this interview to end, but it has to end. Thomas, it's been a fascinating interview. You spoke from the heart, and you got rid of all those roles that you had, and you spoke as a friend and as a human being, and a humble human being. So a final message from Thomas Kazakos to all the Virardi fans and friends out there, please.
Positiveness. Never give up. Never surrender. If you fall, take a breath, stand up and deliver. You're a gladiator with no end. And for the youngsters, you are the future of our country, and don't listen only to the negative things. Keep things in perspective and be positive, and I'm very positive that things will be even more positive tomorrow.
Wow, it's not a coincidence that Michael Mavrikios says legendary director. So let me recap what this legendary director has said. You need luck to succeed. He was lucky. He went on a Monday. He saw the application on a Monday. He went on an interview on a Tuesday, and Friday he got his job. But you need to also have relevance. So you need to keep abreast of what's happening, technology and the new technological advancements, so you know exactly what to study. He said that you need to work hard, except if you are the son of a billionaire or the daughter of a billionaire, but it's not self-satisfying. He also talked about consistency. Thomas talked about consistency, and he broke it down into trust, passion, commitment, and above all, like my late dad used to say, being knowledgeable. He said that what keeps him going and what keeps him motivated is reaching goals, achieving goals, and the satisfaction he gets from contributing to the society at large. As I found out today, the Cyprus Shipping Chamber and its members are the biggest blood donor in the district of Limassol. Just a mere email, and they help their fellow citizens. He says that you should never regret, but learn from the things that you don't find satisfactory. Improvise, adapt, and overcome is one of his mottos. He also talked about his late father. He learned from him humility. He doesn't remember learning this by his father teaching him this, but he learned it from his father's acts. So the best example of leading is leading by example. Last but not least, Thomas said, don't live for tomorrow, don't live for today, but live in today. Thank you very much, dear friends and fans. Thank you, Thomas, for coming.
Thank you for the pleasure and the privilege.
And just to let you know that you have a chance to meet this legendary director, this great friend, simply by sharing this episode, and you get a chance to meet Thomas in the flesh. We will arrange for one lucky winner to meet Thomas. And last but not least, I would like to thank Regis for hosting us today. Thank you very much.